So you think you need a massive T-bone steak to build muscle after 60? Let me tell you something that might change your mind completely, and it might save your gut in the process. I've been working with seniors in my practice for over 20 years now. And I have to be honest with you, for the first decade of my career, I believed the exact same thing everyone else did. It was the old school bodybuilding mentality. You want muscle? You eat meat, lots of it, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. The redder, the better. But then I started seeing a pattern in my patients. I started paying close attention to the actual clinical research coming out on geriatrics and nutrition. And what I found didn't just surprise me, it shocked me. Today, I want to walk you through 5 specific plant proteins that can build muscle just as well as meat. And for those of us over 60, sometimes even better. I know that sounds crazy. It goes against everything we were told in the 70s and 80s. But stick with me here, because the biology of your body has changed, and your diet needs to change with it. There was a massive study published recently in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition. This wasn't a small survey. They followed nearly 3,000 people for 5 years. They were specifically looking at muscle mass retention in older adults. Here's what they found. The seniors eating high-quality plant proteins built just as much muscle as the heavy meat eaters. But there was a catch, a good one. The plant eaters didn't just keep their muscle. Their overall inflammation markers were lower, their heart health was better, and they had more energy. Now, if you caught my last video about teff, quinoa, and those ancient grains, this discussion builds right on top of that. Think of those grains as your foundation, the floor of the house. The proteins I'm about to show you? That's the framing, the walls, and the roof. You put them together, and you have a complete, bulletproof system for strength. Quickly drop your age in the comments. I always like knowing who I'm talking to. Whether you're 60, 75, or pushing 90, this information applies to you. Before I reveal the top 5, I need to explain a concept that took me time to fully grasp. This is the secret to understanding nutrition. Your body does not care where protein comes from. It really doesn't. Your muscles don't have a sensor that says, oh, this is chicken, or this is a bean. To your body, protein is just a delivery truck. What your body actually needs are the packages inside the truck. Amino acids. Whether you eat a prime rib or a bowl of lentils, your digestive system has to do the exact same job. Break those complex chains down into single amino acids. Then, your body takes those little blocks and rebuilds them into human muscle tissue. So the real question isn't meat versus plants. The real question is, which delivery truck is easier to unload? And here is where it gets critical for us over 60. Our digestive systems are not what they were at 25. We produce less stomach acid, hydrochloric acid, and fewer digestive enzymes. That big steak that went down easy when you were 40? Now it sits in your stomach like a brick. You know the feeling. You eat a heavy meal and you feel bloated, tired, sluggish. You want to take a nap immediately. That is your body working overtime, diverting all its energy just to break down that dense animal protein. And the tragedy is, while your body is struggling, a lot of that protein isn't even being absorbed. It's going to waste. Plant proteins hit differently. They are bioavailable. They are easier on a sensitive system. They come wrapped in fiber that keeps your gut microbiome healthy. And critically, they come with anti-inflammatory compounds that actually help your muscles recover after the workout. But and this is a big but, not all plant proteins are created equal. To replace meat, you need complete proteins, meaning they contain all 9 essential amino acids that your body cannot make on its own. The 5 I'm about to show you check every single box. Let's start with number 5, hemp seeds. Now, before you get worried or click away, these are completely legal. There is no TC, you are not going to get high. You are not going to get the munchies. You're just going to get strong. Hemp seeds are what I call nature's sprinkle-on insurance. Just 3 tablespoons give you about 10 grams of complete, high-quality protein. But the reason I recommend these for seniors isn't just the protein count, it's the fat profile. Hemp seeds have a chemically perfect ratio of omega-3 to omega-6 fatty acids. Why does that matter to your biceps? Because inflammation is one of the sneaky reasons seniors lose muscle. It's a condition called inflammaging. When your body is chronically inflamed, it gets stuck in a breakdown mode, catabolic, rather than a building mode, anabolic. Hemp seeds help flip that switch back to building. They also contain a rare fatty acid called GLA, gamma-linolenic acid. You don't find this in many foods. There is research out of Europe showing GLA specifically helps with joint mobility and muscle recovery. In people over 50, how to use them. Using them is dead simple because they require zero cooking. Breakfast. Sprinkle them on your oatmeal or yogurt. Lunch. Toss them on top of a salad for a nutty crunch. Snack. Throw them into a smoothie. They have a mild nutty taste, almost like a sunflower seed but softer, so they work with everything. Pro tip. Keep them in the fridge. Because they are so rich in healthy oils, they can go rancid if you leave them in a hot pantry for months. Keep them cold, and they stay fresh. Moving on to number 4. Lentils. I know. Not exactly the most exciting food in the world. When I was a kid, my mom made lentil stew, and I hated it. I thought it was boring old people food. Turns out, Mom was a genius. Populations in the blue zones, places like Ikaria, Greece, or parts of India have been eating lentils as a staple for centuries. And they aren't eating them because they're cheap, though they are. They eat them because they work. 1 cup of cooked lentils gives you 18 grams of protein. That is significant. But you also get 16 grams of fiber. Let's pause on the fiber for a second. Most seniors I see are fiber deficient. Fiber feeds the good bacteria in your gut. When your gut bacteria are happy, your absorption of all nutrients, including protein, improves. It's like upgrading the software in your digestive system. Lentils are also loaded with BCAAs, branched-chain amino acids. Bodybuilders buy expensive powders to get BCAAs. You can get them for pennies in the bulk aisle. Your muscles use these specifically for repair after you move around. The Harold story. I had a patient, Harold, 71 years old, from Houston. Harold had been losing muscle mass for years, a condition we call sarcopenia. He tried eating more steak, but his digestion couldn't handle it. He felt terrible. I got him on a simple protocol: lentil soup for lunch, every single day. He'd make a big batch on Sunday with carrots, celery, and spices, and eat it all week. 6 weeks later, he came in for a checkup. He told me, "Doc, my pants fit differently. Not looser, just different." His thighs had shape again. He had more energy to walk the dog. That is the power of consistent, digestible protein. Cooking tips. Red lentils. Cook in 15 minutes. They break down into a creamy mush perfect for soups or thickening stews. Green French lentils. These hold their shape. Use these for salads or side dishes. Warning: cook them all the way through. Undercooked lentils contain lectins that can block absorption and give you terrible gas. Nobody wants that. Boil them until they are soft. Number 3 is a powerhouse that often gets ignored. Edamame. These are young green soybeans. 1 cup has about 17 grams of complete protein. That is more protein than 2 large eggs, with none of the cholesterol. What makes edamame special for the over 60 crowd is the specific concentration of those BCAAs I mentioned earlier. Research from Texas indicates that as we age, we need more of the amino acid leucine to trigger muscle growth. Edamame is packed with it. Addressing the elephant in the room. Now I know what some of you are thinking. But doctor, isn't soy bad for you? Doesn't it mess with hormones? I had a male patient who refused to touch soy because he read online that it lowers testosterone. Let me set the record straight right now. The compounds in soy are called phytoestrogens. Phyto means plant. They are practically totally different from human estrogen. Researchers have been poking at this question for decades. The result? A massive meta-analysis found no link between soy intake and lowered testosterone in men. In fact, a study in the Journal of the American Geriatric Society following 2000, seniors found that those with higher soy intake had more muscle mass and better physical function. How to eat them? You don't need to be a chef. Buy them frozen, already shelled. Steam them for 5 minutes. Sprinkle with sea salt. Eat them like a snack instead of potato chips. Toss a handful into a stir-fry right at the end to keep them bright green. Keep a bag in your freezer. When you realize you haven't had enough protein today, boom, 5 minutes later, you're set. Now we are getting to the heavy hitters. Number 2 might be new to you. Tempeh. Most people know tofu. Tempeh is like tofu's cooler, stronger older brother. For building muscle after 60, it might actually be superior. Tempeh is made from whole soybeans that are fermented with a specific starter culture. It creates a firm, dense block. Why is it better? Fermentation. The fermentation process breaks down anti-nutrients called phytates. Phytates normally bind to minerals like zinc and iron and prevent you from absorbing them. Because tempeh is fermented, those phytates are gone. 1 cup of tempeh has a staggering 31 grams of complete protein. Let that sink in. That is more than a chicken breast. More than a can of tuna. And because of the fermentation, studies from the Journal of Food Science show absorption rates can be up to 30% higher than non-fermented soy. Taste and texture. Tempeh has a chew to it. It's meaty. It has an earthy, nutty mushroom-like flavor. The secret to making it delicious. If you just eat it raw, it can be bitter. Here is the secret chef trick. Slice it thin, about 1/4 inch. Steam it for 10 minutes first. This removes the bitterness and opens up the pores of the protein. Marinate it. It drinks up flavor. Soy sauce, maple syrup, and ginger is a great combination. Pan-fry it in olive oil until it's golden brown and crispy. It's dense, it's filling, and it is absolute rocket fuel for your muscles. And finally, number 1. This one changed how I think about plant protein entirely. Tofu. I can hear the groans. Tofu is tasteless. Tofu is spongy. I hate the texture. Listen to me. Tofu has an image problem because 99% of people cook it wrong. They serve it as a soggy, wet cube in a sad salad. Of course, you hate that. I hate that. But prepared correctly? Tofu is legitimately one of the best muscle-building foods on the planet. The science. There was a huge analysis in the British Journal of Sports Medicine comparing plant and animal protein. The conclusion? No real difference in muscle gain. Tofu matches whey protein in its ability to trigger muscle synthesis because it is incredibly high in leucine. Leucine is the on switch for muscle building. Without it, nothing happens. Tofu is full of it. The Margaret story. I had a patient, Margaret, 71, from Phoenix. She was frail. She struggled to carry groceries up her front steps. I told her to try tofu. She laughed at me. She said, "I'm not a hippie, Dr. Michael." I taught her the method I'm about to teach you. She started eating it 3 times a week. 3 months later, her grip strength had improved, and she could carry those groceries without stopping to rest. She told me, "Why didn't anyone teach me to cook it this way 30 years ago?" The protocol. How to make tofu taste like meat. Buy firm or extra firm. Forget the silken stuff. That's for soup. The press. Crucial. You must press the water out. Wrap the block in a kitchen towel. Put it on a plate. Put a cast iron skillet or heavy cans on top. Leave it for 30 to 60 minutes. The towel will be soaked. That water is what makes tofu taste bad. Get it out. The tear. Don't cut it into perfect cubes. Tear it into chunks with your hands. This creates rough edges that get crispy. High heat. Bake it at 400 degrees Fahrenheit, 200 degrees Celsius for 30 minutes or fry it hot. You want the Maillard reaction browning. That gives it a savory, meaty taste. Season boldly. Tofu is a sponge. Toss it in barbecue sauce, curry paste, or garlic and herbs. So how do we put this all together into a day of eating? Morning. Start with your oat or grain porridge and throw 3 tablespoons of hemp seeds on top. That's 10 grams of protein right there. Lunch. A big grain bowl. Quinoa base, roasted veggies, and a cup of crispy baked tofu. That's 25 grams of protein. Snack. A cup of steamed edamame while watching TV. Another 17 grams. Dinner. A lentil stew or a stir-fry with tempeh. Another 20 to 30 grams. Add that up. You are getting 75 to 90 grams of clean, anti-inflammatory, easily digestible protein. Your stomach won't feel heavy. You won't have the meat sweats. But your muscles will have everything they need to grow. In my next video, I'm going to take this a step further. I'm putting together a complete 7-day meal plan. Every breakfast, lunch, and dinner mapped out for you, using these ingredients. No guessing. Just follow along and watch your strength come back. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss that. And hey, I want to challenge you. Which one of these are you going to try first? Are you brave enough to buy tempeh? Are you finally going to press your tofu? Or are you starting simple with hemp seeds? Tell me in the comments. I read all of them. Your muscles are ready for this. They're just waiting for the right fuel. Now you know what that fuel is. Take care of yourself. See you in the next one.